brothers in Christ, we have gathered here today to welcome a new novice into our midst. Dear brother, forget your former life and embrace your new vocation in the community of the monks of St. Benedict. Opus Dei, obedientia, obprobria, the service of God, obedience, and endurance of all discomfort. These are the cornerstones and succor of our order, which on this day shall become your own. Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum et vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Accept your new name, Brother Gregor, and wear it with honor. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
It was my choice. For a common lad like me, it's the easiest way to get an education and do something worthwhile with my life.
It looks like we're both here for the same reason. I think we'll get along.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening so you know how things work. Right, we can go now. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we go. Remember one word: discipline. It's your job to work and pray. You serve the Lord now, not your own bodily needs. Peace be with you, brother. This is the way to the dormitory, where we all sleep. You'll find a free bed there, which is now yours. Do you know the first thing the monastery taught me? To appreciate sleep. We rise before dawn every day. Takes a bit of getting used to.
I'd like to ask you something. Are there any risks?
Yes. From the moment talk began.
Well, that's all.
Come now, I don't want to still be showing you around at midnight. This is the garden, a place for silent contemplation and meditation. Centuries ago, this monastery was founded by the most esteemed of brothers, Saint Procopius. His earthly remains can be found in a cave under the monastery, and his spirit wanders the corridors at night, punishing any misbehaving novices. So beware. Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren. And above us monks are the prior and the cicatas, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. This is the refectory, where we come together to eat. During meals, you must be silent. Only one brother reads aloud from the Rule of Saint Benedict.
The Rule is the only law we recognize, with the exception of those from God himself. If you break any of its precepts, expect a swift punishment. The library, the pride of our monastery, a trove of learning. We don't just read books here, we also copy them. You too will learn how. And that's all. Today you are still free from duty, but tomorrow you begin work like the others. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We'll be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here. Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's not much to tell. I lived in Vlashim, and after my father died, I found out I wasn't much of a merchant. So I left the shop to my brother and decided to become a monk. It's peaceful here. There's food and lots of time to read.
So you chose to come here?
It may seem strange, but I'm one of the few novices that did. I might be the only one. The truth is, the idea of spending my life in a monastery was more appealing than being cooped up in a greasy old shop.
Who would you choose as the new abbot if you could?
Why should I even think about that when I don't have the right to vote? Gregor, don't go poking your nose into other people's business. You'll sleep better at night.
Things will get worse. My joints started aching just before they raised scallops, and now they hurt again. But worse than last time.
What troubles you?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. What can you tell me about the novices here?
What can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yodok is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager. Perhaps too eager. Siskind is good company. but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
Can you leave the monastery?
Where would you go? You have everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight, so no one can get in or out.
Salve. Be well.
I'm Gregor, a novice. I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter, and soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
Are there already candidates to be the new abbot?
Brothers John and Nevlas, but the others have been fighting like dogs because of them. We don't have to fight about anything, though.
Why can't novices vote?
They say we don't have enough experience to decide about anything. Don't worry. We'll get our chance.
Why is who wins so important?
We're young and we'll spend the rest of our lives here. And the abbot decides everything about our lives. Didn't it ever occur to you how powerful he is?
This John, who is he?
A circator. And really, just an unpleasant old man. It's mostly the older brothers on his side, because they believe he'll protect the status quo and all the benefits that come with long service here.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's property. He's what they call the provost. He'd like to bring back solemnity to the monastery through reform and by returning to pure faith. I love the idea, but most of the monks are against it.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
You see, I'm looking for someone here.
You're looking for someone? But you're a novice, aren't you?
I am a novice. At least until I find the man I'm looking for.
Why would you be looking amongst monks? You know, the laws of man aren't valid here. In the cloister, we're subject to divine law, the law of the church.
I'm looking for a footpad who's hiding out here in the monastery. He had a hand in raising the Neuhoff farm. He's taken many lives.
I heard something about that. But why are you telling me all this?
Because you could help me. It has to be one of the other novices.
That can't be. Have you told the prior? What are you going to do to this man once you find him?
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
Talk to him. Then I'll see. Do you have any idea which of the novices could be the imposter I'm looking for?
I don't know, and I don't care to know. I wish you'd never told me. Now I won't be able to sleep at night.
I'd like to know something.
I don't...
Tell me about Antonius.
You're right.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him. I've never asked about him.
One that will soon be solved. It's a wonder the prior doesn't check everyone's breath in the morning.
You really don't know anything about anyone? Well, thanks anyway.
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. I just haven't felt like getting to know anyone yet.
Listen, brother. Is there anyone in the monastery who can help me get hold of something, something that's not so readily available?
If you're looking to get into mischief, I'm certainly not going to help you.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. I'm interested in Lucas.
No one knows much about him. He doesn't talk to anyone. He works, eats, sleeps, then does it all again the next day. It's as if he wanted to get it all over with as soon as possible. By it, I mean his entire life.
That's all. Thanks.
There was dozens of them, and foreign heathens too.
Is that right?
There was a great, big battle. Them fuckers filled the whole of Pribyslavitz. The Talmberg garrison had to get reinforcements to beat them. There's wounded lying at Talmberg now, and plenty new grave
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although it's not important. Welcome to Purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I'd prefer not to talk about my past.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
I can fit it in my joints. The things you say. My joints...
They must have realized you robbed them.
They raise scallops. And now
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my brothers, my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
What's your plan with this treasure?
to get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself, especially the part about the coin.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonius.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with of course the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm soul, he's easy to talk to, and you can always rely on him.
What can you tell me about Lucas?
It's a tricky situation with Lucas. No one really knows anything about him. I've tried so many times to talk to him, but he always backs away like a virgin on a wedding night.
I bet they keep the tastiest morsels for themselves and give us the slop that's left over.
The food's definitely...
That's all. Thanks.
I remember back when we ate like kings.
And the wine.
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
It occurred to me you might be the man to ask. I'm looking for some lockpicks. Do you know anyone in the monastery who could help me?
Lockpicks, eh? I won't ask what for. My advice is to try Brother Solarius.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
I'm still curious about this treasure trove of yours.
It's no big terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. I mean, at other times I don't get to read what I like. And I keep it under the slab so the others don't find it.
I'll leave you be. Don't worry, I won't follow you again.
Thank you. And please, Gregor, don't mention it to anyone.
I've read one of the manuscripts copied by one of the novices. I think I'm going to cry.
It's that touching, is it?
Touching? More like infuriating. A horrible, abominable waste of heart.
Someone really read that right. You're right. It stunk like a wine barrel in there. And it's not the first time. It's a mystery, but one that'll be soon solved.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
No, Pete has a strong constitution. He'll still be on this earth.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
I'm interested in the other... What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Then he'd soon get his man.
Sounds like you don't have much time for him.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it, I haven't seen him at morning prayers for a while.
Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. He's always happy to help, which...
I'm interested in Luke.
Nobody knows much about Lucas. He keeps himself to himself.
Do you have any grounds for suspecting him of something?
Quite a lot. And also none at all. The circuitous who make the rounds despise him, and they'd never punish anyone without cause.
Let's hope things will settle down a bit around here now.
You mean after the Tarnberg attack on the Brigand's secret camp? I wouldn't expect too much of it.
No?
I'd like to ask...
Why is that?
There was only a handful of bandits there.
A handful? There was dozens of them. And more demons too.
What am I saying? Creeping. You're stomping about like a bear.
The forbidden books must be in that cabinet.
It contains forbidden books. Get away from that cabinet. The books stood in there aren't for your eyes to see.
What troubles you?
Yeah. tranquility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell, and the glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered by the superior, receive it as a divine command, and cannot suffer any delay in executing it. But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only if what is commanded is done without hesitation. Delay, lukewarmness, grumbling, or objection. For the obedience given to superiors is given to God. For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily with his lips, but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring, and far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers, unless he amend and make satisfaction. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember. Since he has the authority, let him cut out those faults by the roots as soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the fate of Heli, the priest of Siloam, the well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal admonition the first and second time. But bold, hard, proud, and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning of their ill doing.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nebulus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be elected.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with... But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the...
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
I don't...
Real pity. I had hoped your soul would be uncorrupted and willing to help. What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the today's task. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget. What is it, brother?
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Brother, what will become...